everybody. Josh RV Nerd, Bish's RV, down here kicking it with Coachmen, getting my look at the first run prototype, basically, of a new floor plan and an all-new generational update series from here. The 258 BHS, I believe it's called. I could be wrong on that, sorry. Anyway, I've seen a lot of alphabet soup and model numbers real fast recently. This is kind of like the next step, bigger versus the 257 BHS, as the model number kind of indicates, but it's doing a couple major things different. First of all, it vastly improves the general entertainment arrangement on this one. You don't have to do a 90-degree neck wrecker kind of entertainment center in this one, and behind that thing is a gigantic pantry storage, kind of hidden swing out sort of storage situation going on. Now, being a Freedom Express, you've got all those handy things like no vents in the floor, no carpeting, so it's easy, you know, cleaning and pet friendly. They're also 6'9" tall inside, which I really like. Makes a big difference for a tall idiot like me standing in the shower. It also has a true queen bed, which is great. It's an RV that's not super duper heavy, but it fits bigger people a little bit better than the average bear with that awesome vaulted bed lift system. And this year, they tweaked the wall design, basically the front nose and wall design of all their Freedom Express models to allow for what I call headboard power pockets, so that you have a place like set a little phone charger or something right next to you in bed, which is an awesome, nice little touch. Their optional solar package got bumped up from 175 to 200 watts this year. And February last year, I didn't get a chance to really broadcast this much. They are no longer doing laminated floors in these. This is now what's called a constructed floor. It's a total 3-inch aluminum structured with a 5/8 tongue and groove plywood floor deck. So folks who might have been a little bit spooked about potential soft spots in the floor, you're not going to have to deal with that anymore here. And it's those kind of smart little updates. They're doing some things you can't see, but they're also doing a few things that you can, like a brand new interior decor. Whenever you're looking at a floor plan like this, where a lot of different manufacturers build a model like this, it's really like, it's the really good kind of litmus test where you can see, you know, is this the brand that I want to buy? Even if it's not the right floor plan, like, if you're like, do I go with a Freedom Express or a J Feather or an Imagine or a Heritage Glen? Like, they all make this floor plan. So this is a really good kind of cross-comparison model where you can really understand the DNA of brands A, B, and C. So what does Freedom Express bring to the table? Well, they're basically getting rid of a lot of outside speakers, and I'm frankly here for it. I've never been shy about the fact I like Freedom Express. I really like Freedom Express RVs myself. They do the things that I like in an RV. They do it very well. Like, they went with that kind of, residential Bluetooth speaker up here that's tied to the TV instead of, like some sort of whole speaker head kind of situation. Because I don't know about you. It's like I've seen enough outside speakers fail in campers. They create additional potential leak points, albeit that's not a common failure point. It's still possible, you know. I like getting rid of that. Now, that ladder's removable because obviously otherwise it would sort of block the door, so you want to kind of keep that in mind. And your bunks, you may notice how they have some kind of household and USB outlets up here. I'm not seeing the same thing on the lower bunk. Not overtly where I'm standing away. That is something I'd like to see. And this being a prototype, they haven't done things like rated the bunks yet, so I'm thinking they're about 300-pound rated, but I'm not entirely sure at this point in time. Now, notice how each bunk does have its own breeze window, but they have these really smart snap-on blackout shades right there, so you can really blot the sun out like the arrows of the Persian army attacking King Leonidas in the 300. Now, you see that little black widget up there on the top of the bottom bunk, or the bottom of the top bunk, rather, I'm sorry. Well, that is a folding cargo bunk. That does fold up, but currently, it doesn't, I don't think, fully serve its purpose because it doesn't have a rear cargo door in the back. That is actually one little thing that I would personally like to see done or tweaked up on this, but that's just my 2 cents. What do you think about that? Now, this is very pet-friendly kind of camping where you have no floor vents, you have no carpet whatsoever. I really like it when the slide flooring and the main flooring match one another. And last year, the number one concern that I heard from people on Freedom Express RVs was that the decor felt a little bit dark inside. Now, it feels, how do I want to say this, almost like a little bit of a Western kind of wood tone to it, like almost a natural wood tone sort of color pattern. I will also tell you, the camera that I use is super not friendly to colors in this color tone family effectively. So I really highly recommend seeing one of these in person and really forming your opinions and judgments from there. Little thing I would like to see, because the refrigerator is not as deep as the slide, it'd be really cool if there's some kind of like shelving back there. I don't like it when space goes to waste. I like no space gone to waste, personally. Although they do an excellent job of that under the dinette, as we'll get to see when we open up all of our detail footage later. Did you notice, by the way, that's a floating table? Now, the RV already includes a factory picnic table, which is sweet. But, having the ability to have a second table float around, also very handy. Big 12-volt compressor fridge over there, and with the RV being 6'9" tall inside, it means an opportunity for bigger, taller storage, and more space between the bunks, and more headroom in the shower. That countertop leaf extension right there is a really clutch detail in this RV, I think. Otherwise, it would potentially feel... I think very limited and lacking in counter space. And it's not like it's going to be amazing with the leaf, but boy, it sure helps. They put a big TV in this sucker too, straight across from your seating setup right here. I really like that. And as we kind of teased for you in our little floor plan in a flash, that is one of those swing open kind of hidden pantrytainment situations. There is a monster load of storage behind it. Now there's a little spot for a wastebasket under the kitchen sink, but when that leaf is up, it creates the perfect spot for a wastebasket right there. I think that's where I'd put one. You just got to remember, you do need to fold that leaf down to close the slide. Otherwise, the face of the refrigerator and that leaf are going to fight one another, and I don't care who wins, you just lost. Now, hey, by the way, I'm sorry. We are in a first run prototype. It's more of a proof of concept. So this will have window valances. They're just not in place yet. The RV is like 95% there. I went ahead and ran the camera today, so don't knock them for something like that when it will be finished. The bedroom here has been kind of tweaked up and redesigned from last year. I do want you to get to see that there is a cross breeze window, and you do have TV hookups up here off in the corner. So if you want to put a TV up there, if you choose to, not too bad. Pretty decent spot for it. But when they redesigned the front profile of this compared to last year, one of the cool benefits is they created what I call headboard power pockets. Now, in the bottom section, there is a set of household outlets. And then for that shelf, there's a little kind of one of those little black plastic grommets, a little hole drilled through it. So if you want to have something plugged in like a power brick charger in the bottom, and then you want like a phone charger station on the top shelf, well, you can do that right there. Of course, your big front windshield does have itself a privacy shade. And one of the cool things, those overhead cabinets, as you'll get to see in just a minute here, those do hold themselves open. But notice too, last year what they had was overhead storage and then two giant tall hanging wardrobe towers that were too deep to be functional in some cases. This year, they've actually redesigned not just the headboard power pockets, but they have also added a pair of dresser drawers on both sides of the bed. I'm very happy to see that. Now, your cabinetry is all pocket screwed lumber core in this, by the way. And below the bed, you still have those dual extra large slide open drawers down there with that easy lift vaulted bed storage space that actually has little kind of open pockets down below it. So I think they're doing a lot of things really, really well in this bedroom, and their storage in there is better than it's ever been. Over here in the kitchen, it is a lot of kitchen kind of packed off into that corner, but again, you do have that big swing open hideaway like pantry space there. But if you notice, that also could be used as a dresser. It does have a hanging closet rack in the big open part in the bottom left. So if you want to use that as like a kid's closet or overflow closet for yourself, you absolutely could do that. And again, another look at the dinette here. The dinette, of course, being a big U-dinette, and that is what I call a full true U-dinette. It does fold down into like a 7-foot sleeper. Allows you to sleep 5 people in this by only doubling up somebody in the front bedroom, but you could have one on the dinette, one on each of the big bunks before you even need to double somebody else up. A lot of people are going to call this one an 8 sleeper. I do think that that's stretching it a little bit. I think you could do it if you really had to. And then if you want to throw an air bed on the floor, you could probably squeeze another 2 in here, but I don't really count air beds on the floor as like potential, sleeping capacity space myself. Now the bathroom over here, kind of interesting. They've added a couple of these sort of like, linen shelves back here. I will say that is awfully deep. I have an idea. I have an idea. Instead of that being so deep that if you reach in there, you're going to be armpit deep like you're giving an elephant an enema. I'm going in. Seriously, I can't even touch the wall. What if, built into the wall, they had like a recessed kind of foam pocket? And then, you know, I like do that all the way in the back at like the headboard area of the bunks. Then on this side, do sort. Ooh, I like that idea. I like. If you're not following what I'm saying, I am sorry, but that's just an idea that I had. Let me know if you like it, if you understand, and if you can follow what I'm thinking. That might be scary for you. As you can see, excellent headroom here, being 6'9", and that is I think that's a 30 by 36 nice rectangular shower. For a left-hand elbow room, you are going to make sure you need that shower door slid kind of toward the exterior sidewall, but that's pretty easy. Nothing really says you can't do that, you know. Backing up here a little bit, knowing what I know about RVs, I've never seen the RV at the slide close, but I've got a 99.9% certainty that we're about to lose the bedroom in road mode. Yep, no question about it. However, what I'm wondering about, can we still get to the refrigerator? I don't think we're going to get to it a lot. A little bit, like maybe enough to grab a can of Pepsi or Coke. That's all you're really going to get out of there. But your kitchen drawers, your sink, your storage, the pantrytainment, all that stuff is readily available. Obviously, you know, the bunks are available over here. The one thing I was also very curious about, whether they did it on purpose or not, I don't know, but you can, I mean, just barely, but you can open the bathroom door unimpeded. So if you got one of them traveling body stops, you can hit the brakes and make sure you don't have a little accident on the road. And when I heard they were going to something just a little twitch bigger than the 257 Freedom Express, my first thought is, okay, are we going to change the tow vehicle? And overall, I don't think we have. Again, it's in the prototype phase, so the specs weren't necessarily hard set at the time I'm recording this, but it's under 30 feet. The empty dry weight should be probably just under 6,000 pounds, and the total GVW around the 8,000 pound range. If I'm lucky, I was actually able to acquire real specs and put them on screen there for you. But all that kind of put together generally translates into half-ton towable-ish. You know, it really kind of depends on your specific vehicle and where you're taking it. Now, if you're looking at this, like they updated the graphics package, and I think it looks pretty sharp myself, but they also updated the front profile of the RV. It isn't quite as aggressively swept back up in the top section right there. And what that allowed for was that better overhead kind of storage and those headboard power pockets. Now, up front, they're still doing all those little Freedom Express things like a tongue-mounted spare tire to leave the rear bumper open, which I think is a good call, and there's a reason I really think the rear bumper should be left open on this one when we get back there. I'll cover that, though. They have the, what do I want to call it, like clipping magnet holdbacks. What I mean by that is they have a little magnet pin that gets caught, and it actually will, like, latch itself in place, which is kind of cool. So you, even in a high wind situation, you don't got to worry about this thing dropping on your head. The front pass-through still all aluminum framed under that bed. The outdoor 2-foot by 4-foot picnic table making another return for the 24 season. I don't think Freedom Express was the very first brand to do that, but they sure do seem to be one of the ones that really popularized it, and there are a lot of camper brands out there now who are including those little picnic tables, and this is where I happen to see it first. I don't know if they're the very first. Now, in terms of a neat little construction feature, inside and outside layers of the walls are dual Asdel on these. Coachmen actually is the very first brand that really used Asdel in the mainstream RV industry, and they were kind of doing it before it was cool, like, you know, before people had a clue what it was. And if you don't know what it is, Asdel is a wood panel substitute. So instead of Luan wood paneling in the walls, they have this plasticky composite stuff. And what that means is the walls really don't have anything that can rot, mold, or mildew, which is cool. Now, what I didn't say is the RV is now magically maintenance free and you don't need to do your regular upkeep and stuff. I didn't say that, and if somebody tries to imply that, I would recommend you run and not walk away from them. That is just dangerous kind of talk right there. Now, they're one of the very few that still includes a fully plumbed camp kitchen like with a real sink with a drain. Very few manufacturers do that. But one of the other interesting little notes here, the RV is a prototype that we're looking at today. One of the things that they're going to is this galvanized rolled steel countertop for all their camp kitchens, which, considering this is an object that might be used outdoors where there's far more likelihood of being exposed to humidity or just, dribbly rain or anything like that, having a metallic construction instead of a wood box construction for this thing makes a lot of sense. And I love me some utensil drawer. And the little insert in there that kind of acts like a utensil organizer, that is removable. So if you want to flip it over by the picnic table, you can do that. And I'm just tuning into the fact here, this has what is technically known as a big honkin' awning. That is some wicked awesome coverage here. Now, what you haven't seen so far is like an outside cooker, griddle, or whatever. Just up in front of that, I'm going to call it like an outside wastebasket door, there's actually a little side rail mount. The RV includes a griddle that comes right with it. Now, they're still including a 250-pound ladder to get you up to, 250-pound rated ladder. The ladder itself doesn't weigh 250 pounds. Sorry, I phrased that weirdly. To get you up to that fully walkable roof. Again, they do now have an optional 200-watt solar package with 30-amp controller. And back here, this is a first-run prototype, and they might do it, but maybe your input will make the difference here. There's room right there for one of those rear cargo doors to convert to some kind of cargo bunk arrangement. What do you think about that, Is that something you like or not? And as the gigantic poster is reminding us, because amazingly, despite the giant poster, I forgot to talk about it, these do come factory standard with tire pressure monitoring to give you a little more peace of mind. And along with that, you may have noticed the wide stance stability axles. If you're not familiar with that, what it's doing, it helps reduce sway, bounce, and wiggle when you're going down the road. Gives you better control. And yes, technically speaking, if you jackknife real hard to a parking space, you do scrub the front tires a little bit. But towing tires don't go through the same kind of stresses as everything else. In my 15 years of doing this, seeing a lot of RVs jackknifed, I've yet to see one RV tire fail because it got jackknifed and scrubbed a little bit getting pushed into a parking spot. It's a theoretical problem. It's not a practical one. So thanks again for tuning in. I appreciate it, everybody. As usual, I will leave you a link in the video description to check for pricing and availability. If that link doesn't generate any results for you, contact our team. We just probably either are sold out or haven't got one in stock yet, depending on when this video footage rolls out. Sometimes, like this, when I get an early prototype, I'm kind of working a little bit ahead of the curve, and the inventory hasn't quite caught up. Let me know what you think about her. Good, bad, ugly, and in between. I've tried to do the same, and if you appreciate that kind of way about things, hit that subscribe button. And until next time, take care, stay safe, have fun, and happy camping, everyone.